Well, the weekend has come to an end, but that does not mean we have to end things right here. As you know, we have some interesting events that took place. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing the latest ChocoPro show, number 375, featuring three matches. And there's a particular wrestler that made his debut, calls himself London Machine, as in like the wrestlers that we saw, like Super Strong Machine and all this other stuff. But, however, that's not important, but we will get through everything from A to Z. And then, of course, we move on as we continue with more of the best of the Super Juniors by New Japan Pro Wrestling. Right now, as you know, we're getting closer and closer to the finals at Dominion on June 9th. We're going to see who will be actually eliminated out, who is still alive from here on out. And then, of course, we have Double or Nothing. We're celebrating 5 years of AEW since they launched. We are going to have an insane event. So I would say you strap on your belts and let's get ready to join the DWZ Joyride. So let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead It Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, all anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do the more news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and also cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. I believe it's time to get this show on the road. So let's get on the joyride of DWZ. Let's start with ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 375. It opened up once again with Balan Aki all by himself to give the lowdown to everybody about this day with what events or what matches are happening. But he was interrupted by none other than his best bro, Mei Sugar. I don't know where the hell she's been, but she likes to make a good entrance, but that doesn't matter. So let's begin with our first match. Well, it's not the official match, but it's an exhibition match. As you know, they've been testing Hiroyi reached recently, who is soon to become making her debut and part of the roster. Still on the learning curve, but this time she faces the much recent rookie in the entire Got to Move / Choco Pro family, Iri Kanari. Now, as you all know, she also been through the same type of exhibition, so she knows what to expect. Now, already has faced the top like veterans who already had more experience there, such as Mei Suruka, Sayaka, Tokiko, and whoever else. So I have to say, you would have thought that Irikani would have picked up the win. Now, the idea of the exhibition, if you guys don't know, if you have a 3-minute time limit, but however, You can pick up many pinfalls as you want in those 3 minutes, but so far, none of them were able to pick up a pinfall throughout the entire time until the time limit has exceeded, and it ended just like that. Now, our next match, we have Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Sayaka Obihiro. They take on Sayaka and Kurumi Higari from Prominence. It's not the first time, as you know, Kurumi actually makes her appearance in ChocoPro. It's interesting that she teams up with Sayaka, but nonetheless, I think they do become a bit of a stable. We know that Sayaka has thrown a bit of the violent nature in her development, in her craft, but you would have thought that would have been the X factor for her. But however, that wasn't the case. Obihiro, who's a bit of a slick wrestler, if you might have seen her, she was able to pick up the win when she pinned Sayaka, just like that. 1, 2, 3. It was over right from there, from even before it even started. Now, our next match, we have Nonaka Seto. She teams up with Hoshi Tango to take on her sister, Mie Yosuba, and Minoru Fujita. Now, I know what some of you would think if you guys saw this match. Hoshi Tango is a big individual, a former sumo wrestler, but he's originally from Argentina. So you would think that, oh, this would have been an X factor with Hoshi Tango being the biggest dude. No, there's many ways to go around him. Not to mention, even though he is big and strong, and he's a bit more wider, you would think there's always a way. Well, nope. Unless Hoshi Tango accidentally pancakes Seto, that's one that you would mess up. But however, I don't. But this match ended with a beautiful moment between both sisters, Nonaka and Mia. Now I know some of you are thinking, weren't they teaming up once in a while? Well, they do. I mean, we know that in the beginning when Mia introduced Nonaka to the entire world, that they took different names, but they wanted to do things individually because people want to get to know them. But however, I feel like, as you know, is a way to show, okay, big sister has it. She is already has the experience that she needs, but she hasn't had like that big win that she needs. But nonetheless, it was Mia who pinned her own sister after she did like a somewhat of a Superman punch, but on the back of her own sister, and just like that, it was completely over. Now our next match, we have London Machine, who's making his debut. He teams up with Masahiro Takanashi to take on the Best Bros in a non-title match. Now remember, even if somehow Love Machine and Masa were capable of pinning the Best Bros, that would have given them the opportunity to have a chance of the tag team belts. But however, Machine is someone you don't want to be around, because if you guys ever seen any of the machines in Japan, you guys know what I'm talking about. But however, somehow they were able to overcome it, because it was Balin Aki who picked up the win by pinning Love Machine. And of course, he was suffering from some malfunctions. Masa had to get him out of there. Now, our last thing we see in this one is the Jonkin tournament. I was a bit of surprise throughout the entire tournament that somehow Love Machine was able to make it all the way to the finals. But he was a bit more clever than I thought, because A, if you guys ever played rock paper scissors in Japan, you know they have that thing where like kind of like what we do is like rock paper scissors, like that. Basically, he was like this the entire time, and when the opponent's like rock paper scissors, his hand would stand still. So I thought it was a very clever way, but I was so worried when he got to the finals, the Tokiko, who made it all the way through, was not going to win. But luckily, that wasn't the case. She outsmarted him, and once again, Love Machine went malfunctioning. Masa had to take him out. So I'm like, okay, at least someone won it fair and square. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for ChocoPro, but I believe it's time for, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, we are now in day 9 of the best of the Super Juniors. Now, certain wrestlers, as you probably know, uh, are probably completely out of the tournament. They cannot succeed even further, but they will attempt to finish as entire tournament as possible. Now we will go from top to bottom on this entire day. So let's begin with, of course, B block. We have Ninja Mac versus Kushida. Now you would think that this match was going to be fantastic. Yes, it probably would. Now, of course, Kushida is the homegrown favorite in this match, but Ninja Mac is the outsider who's gained the popularity of the New Japan fan base. But however, I was impressed by this match, but unfortunately, it was Ninja Mac who was able to pick up the win with 6 points. That would leave him with, hold on a minute, I know I have the results on that. Oh yeah, so Ninja Mac in in his record, yes, here it is. He has 3 wins and 4 losses with 6 points. So I'm not sure if that means that he's automatically out. But if he is out, then that probably means that he cannot advance even further. However, we'll find out more as soon as we see how things progress. Now we jump into the A block. We have Costa Fujita versus Hayata. Now Costa Fujita did start it out very well, but however, somewhere down the line, of course, Costa Fujita has not been picking up wins. He only had 4 points with just 2 wins, but it was Hayata who was able to pick up the win when he applied the 403 impact onto him, giving him 2 points for making the total of 10. So his record, as we speak, is currently with 5 wins and 3 losses. However, because of the points he has, he continues on as possible. He is still alive in this tournament. However, our next match is back to the B block. We have Dragon Dia, but all of a sudden that scumbag shows up, attacks him, tries to take his skateboard. I don't know what he gets out of this, and then of course he has that moron, Yujiro Takahashi, showing up to give him a helping hand. But of course, Sho is determined to prove he is the best, and he's determined to make it all the way to the finals. We all know why he wants to make it to the finals. A, he doesn't want to face anybody, or unless he picks Kanemaru for being a scumbag. But I'm sure, of course, Chris Carlton does not want to see him make it all the way. I just hope he doesn't make it. But unfortunately, things got out of the hand when, of course, the referee was out, then the low blow. Then, of course, there's the possibility he loaded his shin guard once again, kicking Dragon Dai in the abdomen, in the side of his sides. So it's possible on that he gains 8 points, while Dragon Dai, he is still winless with 0 points. So basically, he is out of the tournament. Now we jump in back to A block. We have Bushi versus Blake Christian. Now, for the record, I did not know this. I haven't been, how do I say, keeping up with GCW recently. Chris Carlton has revealed that effective immediately, Blake Christian is stripped from the GCW World Title by, how do I say, declaration by none other than the GM of GCW, Matt Cardona. Now, I don't know if I should call it that it's a great thing or a stupid thing. I don't know. But that's a different conversation. But however, I'm sure Blake Christian would probably tell Matt Cardona to go F yourself. But he had an impressive match they put up. You would think that this was going to be a very fun match. It kind of did. Bushi, on the other hand, well, the thing is this: Blake Christian didn't need to cut corners. He just actually beat him fair and square. He even applied the springboard 450, giving him the total of 10 points. And Bushi, well, he's still at 6. So, however, I think Bushi is automatically out. The record that Bushi has is 3 wins and 5 losses with 6 wins. As for Blake Christian, he has 5 wins and 3 losses. So he is very much alive in this tournament. Now back to B block, we have Drilla Maloney versus not Clark Connors, Taiji Shimori. Now, this is a very interesting match. Now, don't forget, these two guys are Bullet Club, but however, Maloney is War Dogs, while Taiji Shimori is the main Bullet Club. So, you would think there's gonna be some cutting corners. I don't know, but they did not hold back one way or the other. But it was Tade Shimuri who picked up the win with the bloody cross, and just like that, he gets his 2 points. And I believe just like everybody else who got 2 points, 5 wins and 3 losses. Clark Connors, I believe he is Jordan Maloney. He's currently with 4 wins and 2 losses with 8 points. So that would make sense right there. Now, next match we have Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Teton. Well, this guy, well, he didn't need Yujiro to do his dirty work. Well, he knows exactly how to play the game. He actually took out the referee twice, using Titan as a weapon to do what he wants with the whiskey, and then, of course, removing the mask, low blow, and then, of course, the victory roll on Titan. He currently has 6 points, so I would say maybe a possibility he could be out, but Titani is still in it with 10 points. Um, Hold on, let me look at the record. Well, Kanemaru, 3 wins and 5 losses. As for Teton, well, he's very much still alive with 5 wins and 3 losses. So we'll see what happens from here on out. Now we go back to A block. We have Kevin Knight versus Clark Connors. I have to say, what a effing match. Now these two guys know each other too well. They were both, of course, in the same class together as Young Lions. But however, Clark Connors exceeded him and all this and that. But you would think that Clark Connors would have picked up a very impressive win. He did. It took him a while to apply the spike DDT, giving him 8 points. So he's currently in this block in the game with 4 wins and 4 losses. Same thing with Clark Connors, 4 wins and 4 losses. However, in the post-match comments, Clark Connors actually, praised Kevin Knight, and he said that there's room for him in the War Dogs. So the real question is Kevin Knight going to accept the offer or decline? But we'll see as long as we go. Our next match, we have Hiromu Takahashi versus Robbie Eagles. Of course, these two guys have come across each other before. But however, you would think, of course, Robbie Eagles, who is a fantastic wrestler, would have picked up the win, but Hiromu is the fan favorite. But it took only a Hiromu roll to put away Robbie Eagles to give himself his 2 points. So basically, they're still alive in the tournament. But however, Hiromu has in this point about 5 wins and 2 losses with 10 points. Now don't forget he did have 2 extra points due to the forfeit of Francesco Akira. Same thing with Robbie Eagles as well. However, Robbie has 4 wins and 2 losses, so we'll see what happens. Now our next match, our main event, TJP versus El Desperado. Now it's kind of amazing that somehow TJP, who started out very bad in the beginning with 3 losses and somehow was able to pick up a win, made it all the way through. But he has to face against one of the best junior heavyweight competitors in the entire New Japan world, of course, El Desperado. I thought this match was fantastic, but TJP was able to pick up the win with the Mamba splash, and boom, he gets his 2 points with 8 points. So that means he's still alive, and he has 4 wins and 4 losses. As for El Desperado, well, he's still in the game with 10 points, with 5 wins and 3 losses. So, however, this is how I see it now. The ones who are currently in the lead in the A block right now with 10 points, we have Besby, Titan, Blake Christian, and Hayata. So sooner or later, one of these 4 men or 2 of them may be dropping down. So we'll see. As for B block, we have Taida Shimori and Hiromu Takahashi. So that is something we could definitely see down the line. Now our next event with the Best of the Super Juniors will be on May 28th, which is a Tuesday. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, I think we are done with this. Let's move on with our last and final review. the long-awaited AEW Double or Nothing. Okay, 5 years ago, we saw Double or Nothing. What an incredible show. To me, it was a really awesome show because we got to see wrestlers you don't normally ever seen before. And this to me was also the introduction to the Yoshi wrestlers. I mean, when we had Riho, um, Hikaru Shida, Ryo Mizunami taking on Yuka Sakazaki, Emi Sakura, and Aja Kong. That was the match that introduced me to become a fan of Yoshi wrestling. So I kind of owed the first one that. And of course, we saw Jericho versus Kenny Omega, Moxley making his debut, and plenty other things as well on that particular day. But as time rolls up, things have changed since then. So we'll see what happens till now. Now let's begin with matches and stuff that took place during the buy-in. Our first match, we have Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo. Now this whole thing began when Thunder Rosa returned after being injured, and of course in a frustrating mood. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Thunder has been in that position where she was agitated with the fact that she had to relinquish her belt. Remember, she did not lose it. So she was doing whatever it takes to get her belt back. But unfortunately, she pissed off not only other people, but she pissed off Deonna Purrazzo, who felt that who is she to cut in on front of the line. But however, you would think this was going to be a very interesting. It kind of did. You would have assumed that this was going to be a clean fight, but of course, Deonna Purrazzo, well, with her issues towards, excuse me, with Thunder Rosa, that kind of played out dirty for her when she when she pinned her by using the ropes in order to pick up the win. I'm sure Thunder Rosa's not going to let that go, but we'll see how that rolls on. Then we see an interview with Lex Sr. talking with the Acclaim and Daddy Ass, who are at war with the Cage of Agony, Brian Cage, Teo Leona, and Bishop Khan. So they still have some unfinished business with them, but they will be in the last match of the buy-in. So we'll get to that. Now, for our next exciting news that we're involved in the buy-in, we saw Dr. Martha Hart, the widow of the late Owen Hart. Now, a part of me was asking, okay, are we going to have this year's Owen Hart tournament? Well, apparently, of course, it was revealed that during Christmas time, Dr. Martha Hart and, of course, Tony Khan were having discussions, but Dr. Hart thought she had a better idea. Now, the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament will take place in Calgary, which is Owen Hart's hometown, on July 10th or June 10th, somewhere around there. But anyway, the winner will get a shot of the world titles for both men's and women's in Wembley Stadium. So basically, not only you win the tournament, you will get a shot of the world title. So this is huge news for everybody. So I think there are people right now thinking in their minds, okay, who should be there? Now, it's obvious that certain people would think, why not the Brits do it? The ones we know that we have some Brits who could win it. At the top of the list for me would have to be, of course, Will Ospreay. Now, in the women's, people are saying Mariah May, maybe so, but yes. So we'll see where that goes as well. Now, let's jump into the last match of the buy-in. We have the Cage of Agony, Teo Leona, Bishop Khan, and Brian Cage taking on the Acclaim and Daddy Ass. So, of course, this whole thing happened because Cage low-blowed Anthony Bowens, and he hasn't forgotten. But luckily, it was, of course, when things were not looking well for the Acclaim. An old school move that was conducted by Daddy Ass onto Bishop Khan was the reason they won the match. And I don't think no one saw that coming. So you would think Tell Leona and Bishop Khan being the biggest dudes on the planet, well, they're not that smart. Daddy Ass was able to apply the inside cradle, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, let's jump into the main card. Our first match, we have the AEW International title, Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong. Now, to me, it was no secret that this was going to be a match that will fall into Will Ospreay. Now, why is that? This guy has traveled internationally, which is no secret. He has wrestled everywhere in the world. But Roderick Strong, who has no respect for Will Ospreay, who thinks that he doesn't speak internationally, doesn't deserve it. But of course, the Undisputed Kingdom was going to get involved one way or the other. Even Warlow got himself caught, So basically, there's that. And then, of course, security had to eject United Kingdom and make this a one-on-one match. However, when things seemed like it was going to go Will Ospreay's way, Don Callis decided the Tiger Driver, which Will Ospreay said he won't do it. But luckily, he did not, because he applied the Stormbreaker, becoming our brand new international champion. And he said that he's willing to fight anybody outside of AEW internationally. But however, during the media scrum, there was a mention that would he compete in the Owen Hart tournament, and of course he did stated that he would definitely put his name on the hat on that one. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure many of us would like to see him participate in that and get his moment at Wembley Stadium. Now, as soon as the match was over, Adam Cole decided, I would rather be with Roderick Strong to check on him. So he ended up talking about MJF, and then all of a sudden, MJF came back looking like Triple H, and then it seemed that, MJF got whatever he had held inside of him to come out. He put out a great promo, and not to mention he is saying he ain't going nowhere. And not to mention he has proven that his loyalty towards WWE. So that is something that we could be account. I'm sure many WWE fan base would rather see him in AEW, but WWE fans would rather see him in WWE, but seems like it's not going to happen that soon. But it's great to see him back. But I can't wait to see what's going on. But it's no secret that maybe somewhere down the line we could have him challenge for the AEW World Title. Now, our next match is the Unified Trios World Title, Death Triangle versus the Bang Bang Gang. Now, you would think that there would be some dirty tricks coming from the Bang Bang Gang. Of course, there would be. But there is one thing that they did not anticipate in this match. Well, it's the return of Juice Robinson, who, of course, Pac had, who was it? Jay White, right where he wanted him, but apparently because of distraction, it helped in his favor, and the Bang Bang Gang retained the belt. So we'll see where that goes from here on out. Now, our next match, we have AEW World Women's Champion Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm. Now, Serena Deeb, as you know, I have to say she played a very good, impressive psychology moment in this match. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, there was a moment where, of course, Mariah May saw that Toni Storm was in the Serenity Lock. She was on the verge of throwing the towel, but Luther tried to stop her. Now, why is that important? Simple. Toni Storm threw the towel on Mariah May. So basically, I have to say it was a smart move. But the one thing that was funny, Toni Storm thought in her mind that it was in fact Luther who was going to toss the towel. I thought that was pretty funny. But however, Serena Deeb, who refused to surrender, did not back down, but unfortunately, she ended up with the Storm Zero twice, one on the top of the turnbuckle and the other normally, and that's how she retained her belt. Now, our next match, we have Trent Beretta versus his former best friend, Orange Cassidy. Now, for a long time, Trent Beretta has been trying to prove to the entire world that Orange Cassidy is a narcissist, that he's a cheater. However, he was the one who requested a straight-up match. Now, you got to ask yourself, was this wise for him? I don't know. But however, Orange Cassidy was able to apply a win without using Beach Break that much and the Orange Punch. He used the jackknife, and that allowed him to win the match. However, there was a post-match comment about this. He says that he's done, and of course, Rocky tried to talk to him, but it seems that no matter what Trent Beretta tried to do, his point across towards Orange did not go through. Now, our next match is the FTW title and FTW rules. Hook, Katsuyori Shibata, and Jericho. Now, of course, there was going to be weapons involved. We saw dice used instead of thumbtacks, so I thought that was interesting to see. But later we did see Big Bill try to take out Hook. But oh my God, I have to say, Big Bill was so lucky that he did not get impaled by that table. You guys saw that, right? That metal bar that it's in the underneath the table missed him. I'm like, holy cow, he is one lucky SOB. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm sure he'll be grateful that that was there. But however, Jericho had a contempt with Katsuyori Shibata, but a masked man showed up out of nowhere and helped Jericho. It turned out to be, of course, um, Brian Keith. I was like, what? We did not expect it. But however, it was later revealed that Reality Wrestling knew who it was. They actually tweeted it. So, but Jericho picked up the win after he gave Hook the Judas effect, and then he pinned Shibata, and just like that, he retained the belt. Now, our next match, we have an eliminator match for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Konosuke Takeshita versus Jon Moxley. Now, Takeshita called his shot for this belt. However, there were many people that were talking about, they were being hypocritical about this match. Now, here's the reason why. Takeshita, he is in fact a guy from DDT, not coming from New Japan. People would think this as an insult, so he wanted to give him an opportunity. Let's see if you can beat me, kid. And that's exactly what was going on. Basically, you saw that Takeshita was trying to brutalize him even further, try to take him down. But his mistake was when he listened to Don Callis and decided to, of course, try to take out Moxley by using chairs. But luckily, Moxley applied a stomp on the chair to Takeshita, and then Death Rider winning the match. So that was the mistake. He gave too much time for Moxley to recover and pick up the win. Now, our next match is the TNT title in a barbed wire steel cage match. Oh my effing God, the most brutal match ever. Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland. But you got to ask yourself this question. Did Malachi Black bit off more than he can chew? Because apparently we saw an old image that, of course, Adam Copeland has long left behind. However, this match went crazy how it went. And then, of course, when both competitors were outside, we did see the House of Black played a dirty trick on Adam Copeland, saying they would side with them, but it was all part of Malachi Black's plan. But however, something has happened. Apparently, there was a barbed wire in the far distance from them. Brody King went to pick it up, and something happened, and then we saw, oh effing God, Gangrel showed up to help his old pal. And of course, he took out Buddy Matthews, then Malachi Black, everybody. But however, he was taken out by Malachi Black. But it was Adam Copeland that actually put him in a crossface by using barbed wires. And of course, Malachi Black did not tap out, so he basically passed out, giving the win. I thought it was a pretty interesting to see. Now, I have to say, I hope WWE watches. You guys did not give Edge Adam Copeland what he wanted when he was with you guys. Luckily, AEW did. So, so suck on that. So anyway, moving on. We have the TBS title. Mercedes Mone taking on Willow Nightingale. Now, this is a long time coming between these two. Don't forget, these two had come across each other before at New Japan last year for the New Japan Strong Women's title. A match that people believe it should have gone to Mercedes, but she ended up injured. But the real question is, how healthy and better is Mercedes? Well, she seems like she can handle it, but Willow, we know how strong and capable she was. But unfortunately, this match ended with the moneymaker giving Mercedes the match that she needed, picking up the win. But during the post match, of course, Chris Statlander was taking Willow backstage until the unexpected she turned on her. I did not expect that to happen, but it did. But there's someone that commented this on their X account, and I think many of you may question it too, or may agree with it, however you feel. If you guys remember when Chris Statlander was questioning Trent Beretta about what he did to Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta whispered something in her ear, but we don't know what it was. But the real question, this guy did make a good valid point. Could this be the reason she turned her back on Willow? I have to say that is a strong possibility. So I wouldn't pass it. But there was an exclusive interview saying we just gotta wait and see what happens on Wednesday. Now our next match is the AEW World Title, Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland. Now Christian Cage, as you know, saying that he wants to get revenge on Swerve for what he did to Nick Wayne was the one thing. I mean, I thought this match was pretty good. I thought it was very interesting. But however, of course, Christian Cage's stooges were going to make sure that this thing falls in Christian's favor when they set up Prince Nana. All thanks to that. However, things did not last long. I mean, look, Killswitch, Nick Wayne, they could not even put away Swerve. But however, at some point, they got caught. The referee had no other choice but to tell Nick, Killswitch, and Shayna, you're out of here. And that's exactly what happened. But this match went one-on-one. But one of the most craziest moments is when, of course, Swerve gave the stomp onto Christian right in top of the Spanish commentary desk. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. But it was the house call that sealed the deal for Swerve to continue on as our current AEW World Champion. Now our next match is the Anarchy in the Arena. The Elite, Okada, the Bucks, and Jack Perry versus Team AEW, FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin. This match went crazy. But there was a great moment where they were playing the final countdown. And of course, Nick, who tried to use his authority, saying that this was costing them money, told him to stop. And then of course we saw Jack Perry try to run over Darby Allin with the bus as a symbolic after what happened in New York for him. But things got more crazier and crazier when everybody else were laid out. Then Jack Perry shows up. Then he grabs Tony Khan, tried to take him out once again. But Darby Allin showed up with the flamethrower. He lit, of course, Jack Perry on fire, which was the most insane thing ever. And then, of course, the Bucks used a fire extinguisher on him, and they even tried to punish him further. They even put him upside down, hanging by the ankles. And then, of course, they super kicked him with thumbtacks onto his face. And then Bryan Danielson tried to help, so did FTR. But unfortunately, things did not go well. But it was Jack Perry who picked up the win by pinning Bryan Danielson, giving him a knee in the side of the head. Just like that, the Elite reigned supreme. But of course, Tony Khan said that it was a fantastic match, but not the result he wanted. I'm sure the Elite may think they have won this battle, but the war is not even over. Now, we know they're going to be seeing, this coming Wednesday, they're going to be, of course, celebrating that they won, that this is officially over, but it's not over until the Fat Lady sings by those who are loyal to AEW. So we'll see what happens until then. But as of right now, I think we are done with, of course, this, and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news update. So this is going to be a bit of a short one for all of you. Now we only have one update with the promotion. Deadlock Pro Wrestling has announced for their live 6th show on June 16. Calvin Tankman, our current DPW World Champion, will defend his belt against one half of one of the best tag team champions in the world, Alex Shelley. So that's going to be one fun match. Now let's jump into some interesting developments. Now, those who know this or not, you probably would think about Mercedes Mone. Now, she is there to face some of the best wrestlers she has never got the chance to face. So there was one question that people might have thought: what about Saraya? Don't forget, those two, in fact, were in WWE. But she had something to say about that. I'm here to face everybody. Um, every woman here. If so, if she wants to be on that list, she's more than welcome to wrestle me. She's not gonna get any of my titles, that for sure. She's talking about Saraya. So basically, that's something that's a very interesting thing. She's not saying, I'm not just excluding those who are homegrowns from AEW or those who were signed from previous companies, but she's willing to put her belt on the line on that. But we'll see. Now, Bryan Danielson even talked to Sports Illustrated about how Tony Khan got Piledriver. You guys remembered he was attacked by the Elite. And this is his reaction. When they got him up for that Spike Tombstone Piledriver, I was hoping Tony was okay. I was hoping he would protect his head. More and more people are using Piledrivers, and the more and more head drops. So we train specifically in the BCC for how to escape those unscathed. Tony doesn't have any of that training. He is not a wrestler. My first concern was Tony's health. Well, that's very thoughtful, but it's very knowledgeable that these guys that he, of course, he thought of ways like that. But we'll see. Hopefully, I hope Bryan Danielson can train him. That's going to be interesting. Now, Utami Hayashishita had some things to say. Amongst them was, of course, Saray, and she had some harsh words to say about her. Now, remember, Saray called herself as the savior and the ace of Mighty Gold, and everybody are saying, "Are you effing kidding me?" So this is what Utami Hayashishita had to say. I understand Saray is an amazing person who's gone overseas and has a long career, but there's no way a woman who failed to take over the world in W should be entrusted being the ace of Mighty Gold. I mean, that wasn't her fault, of course. But, however, she feels that she looks at her as a failure, but we'll see about that. But she did say about people were saying that Julia is the ace of Mighty Gold, but she has to say, and she said this: I have done everything what Julia has done. It's too early to say that Julia is the ace when she hasn't beaten me in a singles match. That is obviously true. People have been long awaited for a singles match between those two, but it never happened. It never happened in Stardom. I mean, there was supposed to happen, but Julia ended up being injured. So, or was it the other way around? I don't know. But yeah. And then finally, she talks about hoping to become the first Mighty Gold World Champion. And this is what she had to say about that. The first championship of the new promotion's premier title will be the first person to create history of the promotion. I want to wear that belt and show off my abilities as an ace so that the fans will think Mighty Gold became bigger because of Utami Hayashishita. So it appears now she wants to become the first. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing for her. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of wrestlers that would try to say, I want to be the first. So the real question is, can she pull it off? We'll just wait and see about that. So I think that's pretty much it for all of our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode and all that. Later on, I'll be doing a special announcement for all of you. And I think many of you may like what is going to happen. This one involves AEW Dynamite. So stay tuned for that. But as for our next episode, I haven't decided yet. But I just immediately remembered we have PPP Tokyo taking place. I'm excited for that. And you know what? I'll just see what happens. I'm just going to wing it for Monday. So as you all know, Mondays are the most boring day. But for me, I intend to make it funner for everybody. But as of right now, just stand by for that. And stand by also for the next discussion video about Starlight Kid, the possibilities of removing her mask, and of course, Unagi Sayaka watch. So let's end it right here. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.